आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। There's been a long gap. And the chanting at the beginning of the class is very useful because it also helps us read through the verses and sort of brings back to memory what we've done. Having agreed to teach Nachiketa, Yamadharmaraja starts by talking of two different things, Shreyas and Preyas. And saying that for a human being, both are available, accessible. The wise person understands this and that they are very different things. They are, one is karma-based, which is ignorance-based, the result of which is karma-phala, and that karma-phala is anitya. The other is pure knowledge, vidya, and that once you gain that, once you understand that, and assimilate it aprokshitaya, there is no return, there is no going back. It is a one-way street after that. Yad gatvana nivartante tadbhama paramam mama. That is Shreyas. As we saw, the first 13 verses of this second Valli, Yamadharmaraja talks of this jnanam, talks of the Guru, talks of the Shishya in general, talks of Adhikaritvam, and talks of Nachiketa as a Shishya in particular. All the while, Nachiketa is listening patiently. So having introduced these two choices available to human beings, Shreyas and Preyas, and saying that the Dhira Purushaha, the one who is a Viveki, is able to separate the two and understand this is different from this. And the Dhira Purusha chooses Shreyas because he's able to understand the difference between the two. And who chooses Preyas? Without thinking of the fact that this is Anityam. Preyas is like our ice cream. You know, a famous example. You can't preserve that. It will melt away. Just like an ice cream. Preyas is Anityam. No, Swamiji, I will eat it immediately. Okay. You will enjoy it for that immediate present moment. Then what? Can't go anywhere. So that is what Yamadharmada is pointing out, that Shreyas and Preyas, one has to understand that Viveka has to be clearly seen, the difference has to be seen, and the Dhira Purusha, Vivinakti, sees the difference. Balaha or Mudaha don't see the difference, can only see the immediate things. Oh, the ice cream looks good. They don't see that it is not going to last. Even after I have taken the ice cream, I might have some stomach problem. And if I don't take it, I can't preserve it, it will melt away. And not seeing these is the Muda Purusha, Manda Buddhi. And the person who is able to see the distinction will choose Shreyas. Why is he saying all this? Because Nachiketa was given an opportunity to choose highest form of prayers. Our normal prayers choice in life is really not the highest. Nachiketa was given the opportunity to choose not only Laukika prayers, Alaukika prayers also. That's also prayers only. Dhanam, fame, power, land, wealth of all kinds of karma. And it is not a false promise. It's a Satyakami who is making the promise to him. One who can definitely give him that. And Nachiketa didn't choose any of that. Because he was able to see all these problems in these things and said, look, I had asked for that which is Nitya. I will stick to that. Tavai Tavanitya Gita, he was able to tell off Yamadharmaraja. I don't want any of those. Yamadharmaraja in the next verse, in a sense, praises Nachiketa. He says, you understood the difference between Shreyas and prayers. You were offered highest form of prayers, which normally human beings would jump at. It is what most human beings spend their entire life drowning in. You rejected it. You did not want it. You stuck with your third boon, wanting to know the truth. And the way it's clear that Nachiketa is not absolutely certain of what it is, but he knows that there is something to gain. The way he worded his question, is there something after the death of the body? Some people say there is, some people say there isn't. There's a lot of vichikitsam, doubt. But he said there is something to know. It's a state that a lot of us are in. That there is something to know, not 100% certain what it is. What I can see now, immediately, I can see wealth, and that somehow seems to give comfort. I can see how nice it'll be if I can fulfill this desire of mine or that other desire of mine. How nice it would be if I can travel to Dubai and watch the India-Pakistan match. All that is desire. How nice it'll be, how wonderful it'll be. There are people who do that, they travel all the way from here to different parts of the world to watch, particularly India-Pakistan match. It is pleasurable, undoubtedly, for people who enjoy that. But how long does it last? At the end of the day, if India loses, whatever pleasure you thought you gained will gone completely. Where is the pleasure? So, and here is somebody who has the capacity to make sure that that desire that you have is fulfilled. Satyakami. So, Yamadharmaraja praises Nachiketa for doing this. At the same time, he is also reminding Nachiketa that, listen, buddy, you are rejecting something which is not valueless by itself. By itself, each one of the things that you were offered were fantastic. When does it become valueless? Only when you compare it with Shreyas. If you take each one by itself, the kind of wealth he offered, the kind of land he offered, the kind of power he offered, the kind of fulfillment of every karma that every human being has fulfilled. Some we know here on the earth, some we don't even know. We only heard of Apsaras, we heard of Gandharva music. But Gandharva says, I can give you all that. Each one by itself is tremendous. I mean, here on our earth, for people who like music, when you go to a good concert, I'm talking about classical concert, not necessarily the bang bang concert. Even that people enjoy. At that time, when you're at the concert, it transports you to another level of pleasure. But comes down. Can you imagine what Gandharva music will be like? Celestial music. And all that is accessible to Nachiketa. Says, don't forget that what I offered you is not valueless by itself. Remember what you're losing by not accepting all that. Although Nachiketa made it very clear that I don't want any of these, Yamadharma is reminding him. In the process, because Nachiketa is a very young boy, he is making sure that Nachiketa is eligible for this knowledge, is ready for this knowledge, well prepared to receive this knowledge. So these next 10, 11 verses, he talks about all that. He talks about Nachiketa in particular. So in the next verse he says, we'll read together. Sattvam priyan priya rupanscha kaman.
Sattvam priyan priya rupanscha kaman.
Have you all got that? Surya, can you put it up on the screen, please? Sattvam priyan priya rupanscha kaman.
Sattvam priyan priya kaman.
Abhidhyayan nachiketostyasrakshihi.
Vidyayan nachiketo sakshihi.
It's a bit of a tongue twister. Nachiketotyasrakshihi. Aitam shrankam vittamayim amaptaha.
Naitam sinkam vittamayim vaptaha.
Yasyam majjanti bhavo manushyaha.
Yasyam majjanti bhavo manushyaha.
Hey Nachiketaha, Saha Tvam, you are that person. What person? You are that person. Saha Tvam, Priyan Priyarupanscha Kaman. Both that which is wonderful, like all your putra, pautra, wealth, etc. All of those things. And Priya Rupan, that which is beautiful, that which is ecstatic, that which can give you immense joy, at least temporarily. Apsaras, with their wonderful music, their dance, ityadi. Both Priyan and Priyarupam Shakaman. Both types of kama, what do you do? Atyasrakshihi, such Atyasrakshihi. You are one who rejected, who gave up. Atyastrakshihi. The dhatu is srij, and from there it goes through various formations. Adhyama purusha ekavachanam. Srijati, srijatah, srijanti. Then srijastrakshihi. Adhyama purusha ekavachanam. One who has given up. You can look it up in the ashtadhyayi.com. Atyastrakshihi. You gave up all of these, Priyan, all kind of kaman, Priya kaman, and Priya Rupansha kaman. All of them you gave up. How? Not just without thinking. Somewhere I know that this is not what it is. No, you thought about it. You have carefully considered it. Abhidhyayan. Having looked at the Shreyas and Prayas and seen where the Shreyas problems are, or may Prayas problems are, and why Shreyas becomes infinitely superior to any Prayas. We have discussed this before also. You can think of Prayas at different levels. If you transport them all into one single scale, wealth, $1 million might be at one level. $100 million may be at a different level. What Yamadharmaraj offered him, not just that, he probably offered him many times that prayers. But what has Nachiketa figured out? Nachiketa has figured out that whether it is $1 million, $100 million, or in his case, 1 cow or 100 cows, 1 acre of land or a whole kingdom, or it is ordinary human life or life imbued with all kinds of celestial goodies. Each one of them may be at different levels, but each one is as far away from Shreyas as the other. Whether I got tempted by somebody offering $1 million, or I got tempted, I didn't get tempted $1 million, but I got tempted $100 million, or I got tempted because he also offered me a huge estate in the south of France, all paid, tax paid, huge bank account, whole battery of servants to take care of my villa and my entire estate. It doesn't matter. Whether you are offered to make sure that you get the next meal every day, 3 times a day, or you get all of these, you are as far away from Shreyas in both cases as the other one. This is what Nachiketa understood. Which is why he was able to reject all of them. Taveva Vahana, Tavanitya Gite. I don't want even these so-called Gandharva and celestial apsaras and music and their vehicles and so on. I'm quite happy with whatever little vehicle I have. I'm okay with it. It takes me from point A to point B in reasonable comfort. I don't need anything else. Because whether sorry, whether I am getting, I have a little two-wheeler which I drive in, or I get 7 Series BMW, both takes me from point A to point B. Both transport me comfortably, and both have their own advantage, disadvantage. I need to go from point A to point B. I have to see why any level of prayers is not good enough. If you see it in isolation, each one looks great. A person who owns a Maruti 800, which doesn't exist anymore, I think they've out of production now. But the smallest possible car is offered in exchange an S-Class Mercedes-Benz. It looks like a fantastic deal for him. In isolation, when you see only that, it looks like a fantastic deal. But there also it doesn't work. He's got this Mercedes-Benz, and one fellow scratches that car. You take it to the garage, S-Class. Wow. Huh? One small scratch. No problem, sir. We'll fix it for you. 80,000 rupees. Because we have to change the whole panel. What Brazil is doing for you. So the one who is able to see that, he is the one who is a Dhira Purusha. You are able to see it. Avidhyayan, having carefully looked at all this, looked at these factors, you have realized that in relation to what you're asking for, these things have no real value. You give me some alaukika vahana, but very soon I'll find that they've been obsolete. Some other model has come. I will have to come back to you and say, can you replace it? You may not be accessible. All this, Nachiketa was able to see. Avidhyayan. And generally, if you look at what human beings are doing in this jagat that we live in, this is all that occupies human beings. Because we have not seen that in comparison to what you can get, this is nothing. We are only saying this comparison. My current Maruti 800 to an S-Class Mercedes-Benz, is that comparison all we're able to see? My immediate problem of getting the next meal to getting into a situation where I get huge feast every day. That's the difference we're able to see. So what people do is get stuck with that. Yasyam bhavaha manushyaha majjanti. People lose themselves in that. They literally drown in that. If you look at the activities of human beings, that is all we're doing. Artha, Kama, and Dharma. Not recognizing that by themselves they look great, but they're nothing compared to what I can get, which is moksha. So, yasyam bahavaha manushyaha majjanti. People spend their entire lifetime only in that. And they can't get anywhere because you get this, one more till you fail. Then you start all over from the bottom. One more. Doesn't get you anywhere. Life is over. Next life, you start all over again. Bashyam bhavaha manushyaha bhajanti. But what did you do, Nachiketa? Etam vittamayim shrinkam na avaptaha. You did not accept it. You rejected it. Etam shrinkam vittamayim avaptaha. This direction of this path, this way of going, which is prayers, is unending. I have given you so much in this direction, you did not take them. Na etam shrinkam vittamayim. Vittamayim is apacharikam. Everything that you can think of in terms of artha, kama, and dharma, everything that you can get, you rejected. Na avaptaha. So while he's praising Nachiketa for his discernment, for his viveka, he's also reminding him of what he has given up. He's also, in a sense, ensuring that before he starts teaching Nachiketa, he's ready. Bashyam. Report record. Satvam.
Satvam.
There is Sahatvam. That person who you leave it there, no?
Swamji, by mistake, Swamji, I just scrolled it up. I'll just make it.
Okay. Satvam. That person is you. Who is that person? Sahatvam. Satvam. We'll come back, no? Punah punaha.
Punah punah.
Maya pralobhyamanah api.
Maya
pralobdhamanaha api.
Again and again, I kept tempting you. Maya pralobhyamanah api. Even though again and again tempted or appealed to your greed by me, Maya pralobhyamanam api. Pralobhyamanah api. With what? Priyan.
Priyan.
Putradin.
Putradin.
Priyarupanscha.
Priyarupanscha.
Apsara prabhriti lakshanan.
Apsara prabhriti lakshanam.
I laid temptation in your way. I appealed to your greed, which very easily most human beings will accept. Because that is what our life is engaged in. Punah maya pralobhyamana api priyan. Priyan, Acharya defines as putradin, putra adin. All kinds of material things, security, dhanam, putra, dhanam in the form of land, in the form of cattle, in the form of whatever else, and power, everything, and priya rupan, characterized by Apsara Prabhuti Lakshanan. All kinds of beauty, all kinds of very attractive things. So the Upacharikam is music and dance, Vahana. All of them, Apsara, and they're all Apsara Prabhutibihi, Apsara, etc. Not Laukika. Fantastic offer. That kind of Kaman, both Priyan Kaman and Priya Rupamsha Kaman. What did you do? When I offered them, you thought about them. You very quickly, your brain computed what is the plus and minus of each compared to what you asked for. What did you do? Abhidhyayan. Abhidhyayan.
Avidyayan.
Avidhyayan.
Acharya defines that Chintayan.
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 You thought through. Tesham
Esham.
Sham.
Anityatva Asaratvadi Doshan
Anityatva
Anityatva
asaratvadi
asaradvi
Doshan.
doshan.
Anityatva Saradvadi Doshan. What kind of thing did you see by thinking? What did you do when you did Abhidhyayan, Chintayan? What did you see? You saw their limitations. Tesham Anityatvam. A child sees the ice cream, is tempted, but the child is not thinking like a child, but thinking like a wise person, will reject the ice cream. Why? Because the ice cream is anitya. The sukha you get out of this is anitya. And therefore it has very little value. Anityatvam and asaratva. No real substance. It will not last. It will just melt away. Asaratvam adi. And all the other doshas clubbed, as we saw, into three things. Anityatvam, that sukha that it produces also comes with a dukha, and atripti. You can't escape. So those kind of dosha, tesham anityatvat asaratvat adi doshan he nachiketah
He Nachiketaha
atyasrakshihi
Atyasrakshihi Yatyavihi
atisrishtavan
Atiprishtavan.
Atisrishtavan.
Parityaktavan asi.
Parityaktyavan asi.
You gave up all of those. Having seen the doshas, because you considered it, the brain very rapidly calculated the cost-benefit analysis and said, this is not what I'm looking for. What I have asked for is infinitely better. So why should I accept something so much smaller? Brain is already computed. There's a book called Blink. I don't know how many of you have read that. Where he says our brain is capable of computing these kind of things in a blink. And constantly, so much is happening in the brain based on the inputs that you get. And the example they give there is when a tennis player hits a forehand shot, for example, Look at the number of data factors he considers. The speed of the ball, the spin of the ball, the height of the ball, all that. And then the brain also considers where it should be made to return, where it should be returned, the forecourt or the backcourt. Should it be hit as a overspun shot, or should it be chopped down? All that it considers in a blink. There's all the time available before it translates that into action. Here also, Nachiketa got all this data and in a blink considered and said, sorry, Tavaiva Vahana, Tavanitya Gite. This is not any value compared to the knowledge that I asked for. So what did he do? Atyastrakshihi. As I told you, it is Madhyama Purusha Ekavachanam. Sujjadatu. Langalakar, Ringlakar. Atishushtavan. Parityaktavan asi. You rejected, you gave up. Because these are not false promises. These are promises given by Yamadharmaraja, who is capable of giving you all this. If Nachiketa had said, okay, I'll take all of these as offering, he would have gone back, feeling great about himself, but wouldn't have lasted. Yamadharmaraja is full of praise. For a young boy to have this kind of maturity, to reject the ice cream because it is anitya compared to what he's getting as the alternative. In our example, the alternative was a fully loaded card, plastic. Aho buddhimata tava. Aho buddhimata tava.
Aho
Buddhimata
Tava.
Wow, what power of discrimination you've shown. What viveka you've shown. How your buddhi has seen all this, processed it, and you've decided that's not what I want. What a matter of how usually an expression given for expression of wonder. You see this in Ashtavakra Gita quite often. Oh. So Yamadharmaraja is really praising Nachiketa. Na etam
Etam
avaptavanasi
Vaptavanasi.
Vaptavanasi
Sankam
Shankam
Sritim Kutsitam
Shrutim Kutsitam
Mudajana Pravrittam
Mudajana Pravrittam
Vittamayim
Mayi
Mayim
Dhanaprayam.
Dhanaprayam
You did not accept avaptamasi. Na avaptamasi. You did not accept them. You did not use them. What? Trinka, we've already seen Acharya has given two different meanings. One is additional rituals, which will probably give you other lokas, etc. And the other is Shrinka, is a mala of very highly valuable stones. Here he gives you one more meaning. He says you take both, but what it means is the Srutim, Kutsitam Srutim, the lower path, the poorer path, you did not choose. What is the poorer path? everything that's praise. You did not choose them. Because you are capable of that viveka, the discrimination. Generally, who will choose that? Mudajana pravrittam. Kuchitam means inferior, not nice. Sitim. Sitim actually is a path. Sri dhatu. Sri dhatu becomes sarati. Sarati is snake-like movement, which is very low movement. Kutsitam. That direction, that path you did not choose. But who takes to that path? Mudajana pravrittam. People without discrimination who choose that path because they don't have discrimination. They don't have the viveka. Because that's the way to gain what looks like wealth. Wealth is again upcharikam. All those things. Dhanam, power, fulfillment of kamas, all that. Because vittamayim, dhanaprayam, which leads to dhanam adi, dhanadi. This is what people want. This is what people are spending their entire time, effort, resources on. Gather more wealth in any form, gather more power. For what? So I can make more wealth. Where do you want more wealth? I want more power. They don't know where they're ending. People get so engrossed in that, so they drown in that. You reject it. Yasyam
Yasyam.
Yasyam
sutau.
Srutau.
Sritau
Yasyam, he explains that sutau. In that path, in that direction, in that way you go, praise way. What happens there? Bhavaha majjanti.
Majjanti.
Majjanti
Explains the sidanti.
Sidanti.
What kind of people get stuck in that? I don't know how we'll define it, because in this Jagat, we've seen that almost everybody, 99.99999% of the people are engrossed in that only. Majjanti, Sidanti, Bhavaha, Aneke Mudhaha,
Aneke
Aneke
Mudhaha.
Mudhaha
Manusyaha.
Manushyaha.
Many people who don't have the discriminative capacity that you have exhibited, that you have shown when faced with this choice of all kinds of prayers and what you ask for, which is Shreyas, even though you may not have completely known what Shreyas is, what you ask for is Shreyas. Despite that, you were able to discriminate between despite being a young boy. Obviously, somewhere behind, perhaps in previous janmas, Nachiketa has already done a lot in this direction. But what happens to most people, if somebody gets a temptation like this, one tends to choose it. Not knowing that what looks like the best that can happen to you is neither the best nor is it lasting. It puts you back in the same spot. So you go round and round in circles. But that's where most of us choose. How do I get out of this? Shastra has a very clear solution to this. Be a karma yogi. What a beautiful path that Bhagavan Krishna has given. Understand that your end purpose is moksha. Without that understanding, you'll never become a karma yogi. You'll always be a great karmi. Understand the idea of Ishvara. Once you understand the idea of Ishvara, remember, as a karma yogi, I am still an ignorant Dvaitin. As a karmi, I am an absolutely ignorant Dvaitin. As a karma yogi also, I am an ignorant Dvaitin because I am doing karma. And karma basis is ignorance. Ajnanam, kama, karma. That is the path. But I have recognized that while I do all this, my real purpose is moksha. Even though if somebody asks me to define moksha, I may not have absolute clarity. But I know moksha is what I'm seeking. So first is moksha as an objective, therefore mumukshutvam. Without that mumukshutvam, there is no karma yoga. One may be a very great human being, may do everything else, but never becomes a karma yogi because there is no clarity of objective. Purushartha nishchaya is missing. Purushartha nishchaya is the first step. Then one has to understand what is Ishvara because you're a Dvaitan. That Ishvara you understand as that from which the entire Jagat comes, that which controls everything, that by which my karma phala is given, karma phala data, that which is sarvajna, sarvashaktiman. And therefore my attitude towards my karma is Ishvara arpana karma and Ishvara prasada karma phala buddhi. Work like that. In the meanwhile, continue to do Shravanam because moksha is your clear objective. Moksho me bhuyat. With that clarity, one continues to do Shravanam. But while doing Shravanam, I can't give up karma. I do karma as a karma yoga. Acharya connects the next verse to this by saying, Tayoho
Tayoho
Shreya adadanasya sadhu bhavati
Shreya
Shreya adadanasya
adadanasya
sadhu
sadhu
bhavati
bhavati
Iyatirthadya
Iyatirtadya
Iyate arthat yah. Iyatirthadya.
Yeah.
Upreyo vrinite.
Upreyo vrinite.
Iti hi uktam.
Itihi uktam.
As said earlier, no, in the first verse itself, first and second verse. Tayoho. Tayoho is of the two. Of the two what? Shreyas and prayers. Shreyaha adadanasya sadhu bhavati. One who accepts Shreyas as my goal, as what I want, leads to Shubham, Mangalam, success. And what is success? Complete and absolute freedom. Moksha. Because you choose moksha. So, Tayoho Shreyaha Adadanasya Sadhur Bhavati. What happens to the person who chooses prayers? Hiyate Arthat Ya Upreyo Vrinite. One who chooses prayers, he falls away from Hiyate Arthat. What kind of artha? Purushartha. Purushartha. Moksha Purushartha. Indeed, a person who chooses prayers falls away from moksha purushartha. It's already been said, ityuktam, it's already said. How to understand how this happens? Tat kasmat yataha. How is this? Why does Shastra say the one who chooses Shreyas, he is led to success, and the one who chooses prayers falls away from moksha purushartha. Arthat ya upreyo vrinite. He who chooses prayers, arthat hiyate. He separates from, he gets away from prayers. How do you understand this? And this next verse explains that. Let's read the verse. Duramete viparite vishuchi.
Duramete viparite vishuchi.
Avidyaya cha vidyeti jnata.
Avidyaya cha vidyeti jnata.
Vidyabhipsinam nachiketasam manye.
Vidyabhipsinam nachiketasam manye.
Tatva kama bahavo lolupanta.
Natva kama bahavo lolupanta.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.